Hello, hello, hello. Look by here.
Hello.
Yeah. So hello. This is Eric, my husband.
Hi. Again.
This is our date night. I'm joking, obviously. We are going to cinema later on. And we'll be doing a reaction today together. And there's a cat coming in the shadow as well. We'll be watching top 10 American companies that don't exist anymore. Do you think you're gonna know all of them?
No. If it's older companies, might be older before my time.
Think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's start then.
I had no idea, actually. I just saw the for sale signs as I was pulling in.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for
There's
the
a lot
top
of companies
10
that they're like
American
on the
companies
east.
that don't exist anymore.
It was an airline.
Oh,
Like
no.
no
Man.
other.
For this list, we'll be
Toys
R Us.
looking
Toys R Us is
iconic
awesome.
US-made
Oh my
companies
God, they're
that have since
they had all the
retired,
game
merged
consoles
into
on
something new,
display.
or on the very edge of being
I remember.
entirely
Can you pause it for a second?
Some of the
I remember
brand
when I
names may
was a
still be
teenager.
used, but the
After work, walking to Toys R Us, and my brother and I were buying toys. You know, as a teenager, 17 years old or so, going to buy toys. Next day, we decided to go back. They had a basket out full of TurboGrafx 16 games, which are expensive now, for $2 a piece. A basket full.
Oh, then they have it $2
yeah,
a piece.
but I had spent all my money previously buying
On the same
toys.
games? Toys.
Yeah, I just it was one of those. Oh my God.
How expensive were the games beforehand?
TurboGrafx, I'd say about under $40.
Okay,
Right,
that's a
30.
good deal
Yeah,
then.
it was back in the NES days. Like it came out in 1989,
Mm.
and their last console for NEC was 1992.
Okay.
But
He's
this-
a gamer.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. So,
it's one of those things. Toys R Us, just I'll never forget that.
okay.
companies
Sorry.
themselves have faded with the times. Which American companies do you want to see make a comeback? Let us know in
Toys
the
R Us.
comments. Number 10, American Motors Corporation. Nowadays, it feels like U.S. companies merge every other week. In 1954, though, it was jarring to see Nash Kelvinator
54?
Corporation merger with Hudson Motor Car Company, forming American Motors Corporation.
At this point, it looks like the rebels are going to outlast the teachers.
At $355
I know AMC as
million,
a
it was the largest
cinema
corporate
stuff, isn't
merger
it?
for
Yeah.
a period. Even with that sizable amount, American Motors was still only America's fourth largest auto brand, trailing behind Ford, General Motors, and Chrysler. Despite some success, AMC struggled to compete with the Big Three, eventually being acquired by Chrysler in 1979. The AMC name would persist until 1988, when it was renamed Jeep Eagle Corporation, before completely merging into Chrysler 2 years later. How fitting a company
Chrysler
formed from a
owns Jeep?
merger ended with another merger.
I don't know.
They're
Not really a car guy.
tougher than ever before.
Even the toughest
Okay,
American cars
okay.
can't beat big business. Number 9, Gulf Oil.
I heard that one.
That sounds like it's art from like
Beginning in
70s or
1901,
something.
This big oil company's main backers were William Larimer Mellon and his uncle Andrew. What started with a $10,000 investment developed into one of the Seven Sisters oil companies. But by the early 40s, Gulf Oil was among the 10 largest U.S. manufacturing
1940s.
companies. By the end of the
40s,
yeah.
70s, it could still be found in the top 10.
You guys certainly give good service. Thanks. We make it a point to give good service. And we're competitive in our prices, too.
In 1985, though, Gulf Oil merged with one of its fellow Seven Sisters, Standard Oil of California, being rebranded as Chevron. At the time,
Ah,
it was a record deal of more than $13 billion.
In today's style of
Look
living,
at this. You're learning something new
yeah, I know
about your own
Chevron.
country.
says yes.
The Gulf Oil brand name still exists with various companies buying the trademark. However, the original Titan that inspired a Pennsylvania skyscraper no longer
Remember
casts its
Chevron?
massive
They
shadow.
had this ad.
Number 8, Coleco. Coleco went through an
Chevron with Techron.
Techron.
Yeah,
What's Techron?
Techron. You put it in the gas tank when it's empty, or before filling, and it cleans your. You get more mile and fuel efficiency if you add Techron.
Was it type of fuel?
No, it's like a little bottle like this.
Oh, you just
But-
put it in?
Yeah, but if you had the option at Chevron stations to get fuel with Techron already added into it,
Oh, okay.
so it's one of those things. You know, this is something you need for your car.
intriguing evolution, starting as the Connecticut Leather Company in 1932. As the name suggests, the company initially produced leather for products like shoes. When their leather moccasin kit performed well at the 1954 New York Toy Fair, the company shifted gears. By the early 60s, Coleco was officially a toy company, making plastic playthings and pools.
That's
After a failed experiment with snowmobiles, Coleco entered the electronic realm with
Coleco sounds
Telstar and
familiar.
ColecoVision.
That's why. Okay, that's all right. I never had one of those, but they have a new console out now. I
Coleco had
think
another life preserver,
that didn't do
Cabbage
too well.
Patch Kids.
You can love and care for
Patch
them
Kids?
like your
That's from them
very
too.
own.
Following the peak
Cabbage
of Cabbage
Patch
Patch
Kids.
Mania
Kim used to have
and the
those.
infamous Atom Computer, Coleco filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1988.
Ah, she's a beaut. You can't beat a Coleco. How many can I put you down for? A lot? Please say a lot. I need this.
While the company itself is defunct, the brand name was resurrected in 2005. Number 7, Showbiz Pizza Palace. Speaking of video games, did you know that Nolan Bushnell, Atari's co-founder, also brought us Chuck E. Cheese?
Oh,
That's a creepy one.
Thank you.
Despite some recent
You
financial
know, I was talking about
setbacks,
Chuck E. Cheese. I didn't
Cheese
really.
Joint
Oh my God, they're
featured
creepy.
arcade-style
It's robotics.
pizza joints
It's creepy though.
with the animatronics. They had a very specific
I thought there were people
competitor
dressed like
years
them.
ago.
well, I used to
Businessman
wear
Robert
the
Redrock
cheese
entered a deal
Chucky
with
outfit.
Pizza Time
Oh, you
Theater
worked in
to
Chuck E.
make his
Cheese?
own.
Yeah.
Oh.
When that fell through,
Oh, yeah, you
Rock
were saying
founded
that.
Showbiz Pizza Place,
Once in a
with
while.
Similar model.
Oh my God.
Good times.
Rock seemingly came out on top as Pizza Time Theater filed for bankruptcy in 1984.
I remember
merging with their
something
competitor,
similar called
Showbiz
Bullwinkles.
Pizza Time.
Off the
However,
cartoon
all
Bullwinkle.
Showbiz
They had their own
locations
pizza
turned into
and
Chuck E. Cheese
similar to
stores
Chuck E.
in
Cheese.
1992.
It was
It's
nice.
debatable who won the pizza
Chuck E.
war,
Cheese
but
exists
Chuck
though,
E.
isn't it?
brand
Still does, yeah,
more
as far as I know.
Number 6, Steinmart.
Are you like me, where you love name brands, but you don't really like the prices? That's why you have to come to Steinmart, because you get more fashion for less price.
Okay.
When a company is around for more than a century, you assume that it's a permanent mainstay.
Never heard it.
Such was the case with Steinmart, which opened
It's
its
similar
first
to
Mississippi
Ross or
location
Marshalls.
in 1908.
Or
The
TJ
store
Maxx,
shared the
TK
same
Maxx,
name as its
whatever that
founder,
is.
Sam Stein, who immigrated
TK Maxx
from
or TJ
Russia.
Maxx in
What
America.
started as a general department store evolved into a discounted clothing company when Jake Stein took the reins from his late father in 1932. Steinmart continued to grow over the decades, but the company struggled financially during the late 2010s. With stock prices plummeting, Steinmart announced plans to go private in February 2020. Yikes.
The plan is to close most, if not all, of its 281 locations and stop online
Why
sales.
is something closing
The
after
pandemic
more
caused
than a half?
Steinmart to file for
Like a
bankruptcy
century
6
of
months
existing.
later, closing all stores
Although it
and
looks cheap.
relaunching as
Jesus.
Steinmart online.
Oh, that's a.
To all the people that have been loyal to us, it means more to us than you could absolutely imagine.
Number 5, Borders Group.
Borders started as a used bookstore in Ann Arbor about 40 years ago. Expect all stores to close by the end of September.
In 1971, brothers Tom and Louis Borders opened a bookstore while studying at the University of Michigan. The Borders brothers expanded their business after buying out Wars bookstores, which have been operating for 80 years. Ironically, Wars lasted longer than Borders, which still had a respectable run of almost 40 years. Things took a turn for the worse in 2007, though, when Borders ended their deal with a little online retailer called Amazon. Borders figured that they could launch their own online store, but sales fell $1 billion over the ensuing years before finally filing for bankruptcy in 2011.
After 40 years, the
Let's
bookstore
kick
chain
themselves
is
in the
now
butt, huh?
in its final chapter.
Any with Amazon?
All 399 of its remaining stores, including
Could've been
3 in
Borders
Rhode
Amazon.
Island, will be shut down over the next few months.
Borders would sell to
Oh, I read something yesterday.
Barnes & Noble, which has managed to survive a
Oh,
global
what's that?
pandemic
Oh, yeah,
and the
the-
wrath of Amazon.
Oh, yeah, never mind.
You go, Barnes & Noble.
Getting the news today. It's upsetting. We tried.
Number 4, Toys R Us. Childhood is fleeting, but Toys R Us is forever.
Oh no. It's like this, like the thing from the voice from The Shining.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's the same.
My cousin had
voice
one of those
thing,
things.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually,
It's pretty cool.
scratch that.
It was a big plastic
Nothing lasts
wheel.
forever,
I don't know. I just find them
especially
creepy now after that
companies
movie.
run by a talking giraffe. In all seriousness, Toys R Us was a childhood
I used to love
staple
Toys
that
R Us.
struggled to adapt. Like Borders, Toys R Us entered an online retail agreement with Amazon in 2000. When Amazon violated their contract, the toy company walked away with $51 million in damages, $42 million less than desired. Amazon remained a competitor along with Walmart and Target.
This is a challenge Toys R Us is having along with a lot of bricks and mortar. There's a lot of competition right now from the digital world.
It was all downhill after filing for bankruptcy in
Giraffe's name is
2017.
Jeffrey.
The
Jeffrey?
final U.S. Toys R Us locations closed in 2021,
What?
ending a streak of more than 70 years.
I feel like kids are gonna miss out on the best store
Adults,
ever. I
man.
still love the store.
However, WHP Global sought to revive the brand that same year, giving hope to Toys R Us kids. Number 3. Gimbals. Decades before throwing Toys R Us a lifeline, Macy's defeated its longtime department store rival, Gimbals. In the vein of Coke and Pepsi or McDonald's and Burger King, Gimbals was locked in a consumer war with Macy's for much of its existence, even sparking the phrase, "Does Macy's tell Gimbals?" Opening in 1842, Gimbals predated Macy's by
1842.
16 years.
Damn. That Macy's old too, huh?
See you at Gimbals.
War was declared when the Pennsylvania store expanded to Macy's New York stomping ground in 1910. 10 years later, Gimbals launched their annual Thanksgiving Day parade, with Macy's starting their own just 4 years later.
No, there was the Macy's Day Parade. Thanksgiving Day Parade.
That's the big news in town, everybody. The fact that
That was
Santa
about
is
Macy's.
here.
Despite the public feud,
Something similar is happening with the New Year's Eve in Poland. You have there's 3 main televisions, yeah? And you have national one, and then you have TVN, and then there's Polsat. And they kind of start, the national ones obviously exist from the beginning of TV whenever it started in Poland. Then Polsat and TVN kind of started in 90s when, the democracy came. And basically every year there's 3 different cities that they have massive some stars, concerts and stuff like that for New Year's, because each of the televisions actually is doing their own thing. I don't know, I rarely watch it, but
to meet the
it's
profitability
funny.
standards of Baddest Retail Group, Gimbals entered liquidation.
Well, I guess Macy's and Gimbals learned to live side by side.
Gimbals is gone, Marge. Long gone. You're Gimbals.
Macy's won, but without Gimbals, Betty had no Joan.
Well, I said what I came to say. I'm going to bed.
Number 2, Pan American.
It's Lani was a stewardess, isn't it?
I don't remember.
I think so. I think that's what she said.
During their 2022 scheduling meltdown, many wondered if Southwest Airlines was destined to become the next Pan Am. This led to younger generations to ask, what's Pan Am? You might recognize this airline from Hook, which came out only a week after this American Airlines ceased operation. First taking off in 1927, Pan Am came to be synonymous with luxury and international air travel.
It was second to none. I didn't think you'd even see it in some of the finest restaurants.
Pan Am turned flying into an event, but the expenditures required to meet those high standards could only be sustained for so long. Following a series of financial woes, the Gulf War provided the final nail.
There used to be Air California.
No.
There was.
Fortunately, we simply did not have the financial strength to absorb the enormously adverse
They would be number 1.
of these external events.
At the time of declaring bankruptcy, Pan Am had the second most recognized trademark globally.
Pan American Airways went bankrupt and they shut down services. It broke people's hearts.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1.
Blockbuster.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh man.
That video stores are essentially extinct, or that people under the age of 10 probably won't.
I really liked it when they sold their old games.
How did they do that?
Drop return, open late every night. Well,
It's
the
not-
perfect video store.
Welcome to Blockbuster Video.
Oh wait, there's obviously they could.
You can rent consoles from there too. Remember my
Rent
father?
consoles?
Yeah. My father rented a Philips 3DO.
You had to drive to a video
No, it's a real
rental shop
3DO.
like Blockbuster
There's
or
different
Hollywood
versions of
Video to
3DO.
select the flick you wanted.
First time I played Battle
Assuming
Chess.
they had it in stock.
Plus, they have all kinds of video
Expensive,
games for the
though.
kids.
It was a lot more fun than
It's actually cheaper
but even the most nostalgic
to
Blockbuster patron
have games today than it was back in the day. It was, I think, Hollywood Video had 3 days for a video game for $5. $5.
Its various
Whereas
partnerships
Blockbuster would, I
folded,
think it was
and
1
stores
day,
worldwide
$5.
will rapidly
I
plunge
can't
into
remember. It was a
administration.
Papa John's there. Did you see?
Its 9,000 strong chain.
No, it's just one
had been
game.
reduced
Now
to
you get
one
100
single
games
franchise in
for
Bend, Oregon.
$12 a month.
Did you see it, Bend, Oregon?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Isn't there's one? Sorry, I'm gonna rewind it because I wanna see.
and stores worldwide were rapidly plunged into administration.
We're closing early.
Its 9,000 strong chain had been reduced to one single franchise in Bend, Oregon.
It even inspired a Netflix
I wonder if it's still there.
Yeah.
Is it?
I don't know.
That's
You have to ask him.
twice that Netflix killed Blockbuster.
No one has anything to worry about.
There's a red box as well.
The creepy animatronics at
There was
Chuck E.
something, I don't know, it was a Blockbuster or something like something with Buster or something like that here in Tralee. And one of them was actually next to where Divas is. Like in that arc thing, the line where it used to be in one of those places. Oh, look at this. I didn't check this one. No. So that was top 10 American companies that don't exist anymore. With obviously forgotten Blockbuster, forgotten by me anyway.
Yeah.
And
I think
beloved Toys R Us by Eric.
Good times.
Good times.
I love the 90s.
Yeah. Just not in the 90s only.
Well, that's the time I went to Toys R Us and Blockbuster the most.
Well, yeah, I guess.
So,
You were
yeah.
a kid then.
I was.
It's 30
I was a
years
teenager.
ago.
You know, had a job, so all the money I earned went to
Toys.
toys and games, man. Even today, toys and games.
Yeah, that haven't changed much. Yeah, that's true.
Nothing's changed.
Okay. Alright, so thank you very much for watching. And we'll see you, well, I'll see you next one. And he'll see you next week.
Perhaps, yeah, next week.
I don't know. I'll make sure you'll be here next week.
I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.